Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Excuse me. Well, I have an appointment this afternoon, so well, yeah, this afternoon. So I was trying to get on as early as possible. Um and I think I have been successful. Oh wow. Huh. Wow, that's interesting. Oh man, I tell you, the is the Guardian, are they trying to just like how the Tory funding deal gave rise to King Charles' potential cash windfall? That's interesting. I mean, are they just like are they just trying to get rid of the monarchy? I'm telling you, the Guardian has the juice these days. I'm shocked. But anyway, I was just going to talk about something else with the Guardian, and then this popped up. Well, probably won't cover this one today, but see, that's what I get for looking. That's what I get for looking. Um, mm, okay, so let me say hi to a few people, and then we'll get started. Um, who was here first? Fancy seeing you here first. Um, oh, I love this. I love it. Uh-oh, why am I hearing an echo? Okay, sorry about that. And hello to Church Nellie, Lorna Williams, and who else do we have here? Joy Moore, Annie Bullard, Mary H., Pam Porter, hello. Thank you for being here. Verta Sanchez, Francia Mosley, uh, Muttering Crone. Okay. Um, let me see. Oh, listen to you, likely to postpone more. Ye of so little faith. Let me see here. Beautiful day. Not been on last couple of episodes as too late for me in the UK. Good news. I've caught on. Well, good. I'm glad my intentions for a while has been to try to start earlier. And I think commencing today, that is likely going to happen. Um, mostly because my sleep schedule has been all over the place, but yeah. Teresa McDougal, Hope's Garden, and who else is here? Okay, I'm just gonna go all the way down to the Joan Lawman. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank goodness I was checking through here. Thank you so much, and it's greatly appreciated as per usual. And moreover, thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. Thank you very much. Nice way to start a Royal Sussex. Thank you very much. Hello, Judy and Elaine Parker. Okay, anyway, um, very kind. All right, let me put this up here. And there we go. Is Queen Camilla to you? Is Queen Camilla to you? Are you all ready for that? Now, just when I thought it wasn't going to be any more official, for some reason, you guys, for some reason, the British media seems to be asking the question now. Rather than asking the question, like, I don't know, perhaps Ascension Day back in 2022, now you're making a fuss about Queen Camilla. Well, okay. The Queen did say, call her Queen Consort, and please show her the same unwavering respect, yada, yada, yada. that you have given to the whole family, etc., etc. Well, that was, you know what? I'm gonna get to that. Stacy, hello, Stacy Brockman, hello, Baron Squatties. As much as I love each of you, today's dialysis was rough and prevents me from greeting each of you. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for being here. And I kind of picture dialysis as being something very intimate, because it's like a process. So thanks for bringing us with you. Thank you, and we're praying for you. And I'm just always interested in the places where people are actually watching or listening to Royal Sussex. This is obviously a first, but I'm flattered to be a part of anybody's day, any place, anyhow, anyway. If Royal Sussex is just the backdrop, or if it gives you any kind of comfort or keeps you company, that is also very awesome. So yeah, I'm at a loss for words, but thank you so much, and I pray all goes well for you. That is so interesting. I'm always curious as to where and when and how people are listening or taking in Royal Sussex, and yeah, that is very very cool to know that, and wishing you the best. Marlene Williams, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Um, wow, that's interesting. Nicola Sturgeon had no prior knowledge of her husband's arrest. Her husband was arrested? I had no idea. Okay, don't have time for that right now. I got a lot to cover, you guys, so let me get on with it. Um, Okay, one more. Is it Shayna L. Joseph listening while entering my patient's notes? But I have to hop on for another meeting in 30 minutes. Glad to catch this little bit in the meantime. Thank you. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Yes, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I promise. My intentions are to go on sooner every day. Elaine Parker, thank you for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. All right, so moving on. I just saw this last thing before I came on. How cool is this? This is a mother activist and wife and princess. It is the Duchess of Sussex Barbie. Only in theaters July 21st. So, if only, I tell you, if only, I would definitely watch that if it's well made and not insulting to the Sussexes. Long as there's no like right wing, alt right slant to it, I would definitely watch that one. But yeah, that is pretty cool. And I think this is probably just a play on the fact that there is a Barbie movie coming out soon. I forgot who the actors are, but there is a Barbie movie coming. And so, right here, Prince Harry to give evidence in Mirror Group newspaper hacking case. The Duke of Sussex will take the witness stand in June. So I thought he was going back at some point during May, and maybe that is still the case. But as of this update, it says June. Prince Harry is to return to the High Court in London in June to give evidence in his claim against the publisher of the Mirror over phone hacking allegations. The Duke of Sussex is one of a number of high-profile figures bringing damages claims against the Mirror Group newspaper, MGN, over alleged unlawful information gathering at its titles. The trial is for representative case is due to begin on May 9th. Okay, and last for the or 7 weeks. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. 6 or 7 weeks of this trial. That is 6 or 7 weeks of intense bleeding for the Fleet Street people, for the tabloid media, because they're not used to having the tables turned on them like that. But I think someone is taking a torch to that particular establishment, and we are going to see people working for those various news groups. They are going to be in a panic, and some of them are going to be crying like a rat-eating onion. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, so there you go. At a preliminary hearing on Wednesday, Julian Santo for Harry and other figures bringing claims said all the witnesses on their side would be given evidence in person. The claimants are not applying for any of their witnesses to give evidence via video link, Santos told the High Court in London. This means the Duke, who is expected to give evidence, will make a second visit to the High Court this year. The trial in May will come after Harry made a surprise appearance at the Royal Court of Justice in March to attend 3 of 4 days of preliminary hearings in his separate privacy claim against Associated Newspapers, the publishers of the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. Audrey Teschner, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you as always for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday. Thank you very much. And so the justice system hopefully will work in favor of the Duke of Sussex and, of course, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Elizabeth Hurley, Elton John, that other person I don't know, David Furnish, etc., etc. High time that they get their comeuppance, because they have operated with this assurance that they will never have been taken to task for it. And of course, over the years, more damage has been done. I watched some channel on YouTube. Someone sent it to my inbox, and it's called Hacked Off, where you hear these testimonies of people who have had their lives ruined by the British tabloid media. And of course, as an American, as you guys know, we have been plagued with the Inquirer, the Star, and other papers, the Examiner, the Globe. These papers usually had staffs of people, and they were actually expats from the UK. That brand of media was something that was so far removed from anything that Americans had ever experienced. And I have to say, when I was younger, I used to look at those papers too. I was always, and even today, even though it's kind of voyeuristic to look at the photos that they print of people, people that you are fans of, people that you care about, even though the photos are super intrusive, I would be lying if I said, oh, I wasn't a little curious about what they're doing. The stories kind of took a back seat because I didn't necessarily believe any of that stuff. I mean, you always see where they say so-and-so is near death, and then 20 years later, they're still alive. Or sometimes it's just a matter of math. So-and-so is near death. Well, come on, they're, pretty up there. So chances are you're going to be right at some point. But still, the intrusion from the tabloids has wrecked many a household, have ruined many lives, and in some cases, like with Carolyn Flack, it was a life-ending process. So, good luck to Harry and to all the rest of the claimants. Now, this is the story I just looked at. This is how how the Tory royal funding deal gave rise to King Charles' potential cash windfall. Well, as you know, the royals are supposed to be non political, but as we have found out over the years, Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II, and of course, Charles, with his many handwritten notes and letters and such that he would petition and, in some cases, harass members of the Parliament and, of course, the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons. He's always constantly petitioning people. Like with this story, King Charles III, public rejection of a pay rise potentially worth as much as £250 million a year in extra taxpayers' money has laid bare the extraordinarily generous funding arrangement introduced by the former Prime Minister David Cameron. The sovereign grant deal ushered in by Cameron and his Chancellor George Osborne in 2011 has already resulted, listen to me, insulted, that was a Freudian slip, in a sharp rise in public money going to the monarchy over the last decade. In the first financial year of this deal, 2012 to 13, the budget to fund the monarchy was set at £31 million. Last year, the monarchy received £86.3 million, including a substantial amount to refurbish Buckingham Palace according to terms of the sovereign grant prescribed in legislation. Charles would potentially be in line for future payments in excess of £330 million a year. Now, stick a pin in that one. Future payments in excess of £330 million a year. You know why I said stick a pin in that? Isn't that very close to the figure that we always hear from the abolish the monarchy people, the republic people? They always say that the real cost of the monarchy is £350 million a year. Isn't that something? This is in today's this is in today's what is this? Yeah, this is in today's Guardian. Isn't that something? It's just about £20 million shy of what the Republic people have been telling us for a while. Against the backdrop of a cost of living crisis, the new king has signaled he will forego some of the cash windfall so it can be spent on a wider public good. Duh, I hope so. Duh. However, a delayed review of the royal financing has been postponed until after the king's coronation in May amid scrutiny over Cameron's funding settlement. This is astounding. I mean, that that sounds just like that amount that we constantly hear from the Republic people. So, you know what? I got to save this graph. Let me save this one. But yeah, that sounds just like that figure that we hear from the Republic people. So, it's amazing how those two figures are starting to align. Interesting. Okay, so let me move on because I definitely didn't mean to go into this one. I meant to go into this one. Revealed royals took more than $1 billion income from controversial estates. Isn't that something? This is the one that I meant to go into. I'm telling you, it's like the Guardian is trying to sink the royal family. And this is very interesting as well that these are coming out just before the coronation. I was about to say inauguration, not really coronation. Sawboss TV says, Baron, between the Jubilee, Queen's funeral, And the coronation will be almost, I'm sorry, it will almost cost the UK taxpayers over, let me see, or taxpayers almost £1 billion in the last year. Good Lord, so boss, you know what? I didn't even think about the other stuff, but when you put it like that, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money, especially at this period of time. At this period of time, that is a lot of money. I mean, look at the artwork that they use to describe it. Wow. Let me see. The Republic people probably have a insider in the government that knows what is going on. Lorna Williams, I don't know, but this is very interesting. It's like, I'm just really surprised, but delighted because you have to keep public officials accountable. Annie Bennett says, "Hi everyone, I'm late. Did not know Baron's podcast is early. Hope I did not miss much. No, as a matter of fact, perfect timing. Perfect timing. You know how I'm kind of old, and some of my relatives are from the South, so I tend to hem and haw and all shucks and throw a bunch of those colorful colloquiums out there. So by the time I get through getting all that out, then of course, about a half hour has passed. So perfect time. Perfect timing. Let me see. Okay, let me scroll back in the other direction. But anyway, glad you're here, Annie. See, I'm missing out on a whole lot of people starting so late every day. This is something that I need to take notice of, right? The Guardian was the newspaper trying in court to get Prince Philip's will open to the public, but they lost the case. Yeah, that will is going to be sealed for about 90 years, right? Remember that little song I had at the time? Penny Natch Bull and I don't care. Penny Natch Bull and I don't care. Oh man. Her kids look just like the Windsors. Oh man. So anyway, let me see. Where is it? Let me share this one with you.
And the late Queen Elizabeth II have received payments equivalent to more than £1 billion from two land and property estates that are at the center of a centuries-old debate over whether their profits should be given to the public instead. An investigation by The Guardian has established the full scale of income extracted by the royals from the duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall, which run giant portfolios of land and property across England. The duchies operate as professionally run real estate empires that manage swaths of farmland, hotels, medieval castles, offices, shops, and some of London's prime luxury real estate. They also have substantial investment portfolios but pay no corporation tax or capital gains tax. Duchy accounts held in parliamentary and state archives reveal how the Queen and her firstborn son, in his capacity as the Duke of Cornwall, benefited from a huge increase in their revenues from the duchies during her 7-decade reign. Last year, their duchy income totaled £41.8 million. Adjusting for inflation, the pair have received the equivalent of more than £1.2 billion in total revenues from the two estates. Profits from the Duchy of Lancaster, which consists of 18,481 hectares of rural land, primarily in the north of England and the Midlands, automatically pass to whoever is sitting on the throne. The estate itself is valued at £652m. The Duchy of Cornwall, which encompasses 52,450 hectares, mostly in the southwest of England, is worth more than £1 bn. The estate has not kept pace with legislation, passed in 2013, to bring gender equality into royal succession. Its profits still only go automatically to the male heir to the throne, When Charles, 74, became king last year, the Duchy of Cornwall automatically passed to his son, Prince William, 40, transforming him on paper into a billionaire and one of the largest landowners in England. He can expect an annual payment of at least £20 million. The royal family's claim to the income from the duchies stems from archaic charters dating back to when the country was divided into medieval fiefdoms. Ever since the advent of parliamentary democracy, however, generations of MPs have challenged the arrangement and called for duchy profits to be paid to the treasury instead. Parliamentary debate has often coincided with the accession of a new monarch, amid renewed scrutiny over their public and private sources of wealth. The royals insist their duchy income is private, and the government treats it as entirely separate from the sovereign grant, the annual payment the royal family receives from the government to cover its official costs. That too has risen dramatically in recent times and cost the taxpayer £86 million a year. Buckingham Palace declined to comment on the Guardian's figures for income received from the duchies, which it described as speculative. The palace has long stated that income received from both duchies is largely spent on the family's official duties, public work, or charitable causes. However, the royals have never provided a detailed account of how money from the estates is spent, describing them as private financial arrangements. Charles has reported that 49% to 51% of his duchy income was spent covering public and charitable functions in recent years. As Prince of Wales, a large part of Charles's duchy income was spent privately, including on secretaries, valets, gardeners, chefs, stable hands, and farm workers. The late Queen was reported to have used Duchy of Lancaster income to help Prince Andrew pay an undisclosed sum, case filed against him by Virginia Giuffre. The veteran Labour MP Margaret Hodge, who led an inquiry into the Duchy of Cornwall in 2013 when she chaired the Public Accounts Committee, said Parliament had been unable to establish how duchy income was spent. It was very unclear, she said recently. There is little transparency. She described the status of the duchies as a deliberate ambiguity and argued that income from them should be taken into consideration by the government when it calculates the next sovereign grant payment. If the money from the duchies is part of the state's contribution to the monarchy, fine, but we should be able to see how it is spent and look at funding of the royal household in the round. The Guardian made 8 visits to the archives to retrieve accounts for the duchies to reveal how they have transformed royal fortunes.
Prince, Trenchtown wants $245 billion. That's what Trenchtown wants. $345 billion. Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what Trenchtown wants. Yes. What do
you mean? So, you know what? Trenchtown said... Trenchtown man said they want their $345 billion. See how that 300 and a half billion and trillion and million, see how it's always 3.5. They are raking in the cash. I wonder, what do they do with the money? You know what I'm saying? What do they do with it? Okay, fair enough. You have to maintain households, and some of that money is coming out. But that the British people are okay, well, some people are okay with the lives that these people live that are unelected, that are remnants of a feudal age. I mean, this is feudalism. See how they have the hectares of land all divided up? That is like directly from feudalism. And most people in the world have moved on from that, especially in the Western industrial republics or nations, democracies. And yet, this continues unabated, without any type of remorse, or it just continues. Hey, Miss VS. Let me see. VS says, hey, everyone listening, and had to say, it's even more insulting to know that Charles was receiving as Prince of Wales. Yeah, he was a billionaire as a Prince of Wales. And remember, I kept saying, as soon as William becomes the Prince of Wales, overnight he becomes a billionaire. The Queen's last breath, he becomes a billionaire. He hasn't worked for anything. All he had to do was show up. And you probably thought it was a lot when he got that 8 million pound helicopter. Well, now he can buy his own stuff. Now he can go on a spending spree. So, let me see here. Anfu says, spend on official duties, get a life, Chucky. When you people visit a charity, you go with your two empty hands, or like obnoxious Sappy Sophie. A picture of them signed, yes, as shameless. They gave the whichever prime minister, president he was, gave him a signed photo. Manello, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday. Okay. Let me see here. They do what all billionaires do: invest and put in hiding banks and make sure, hidden banks, and make sure they will survive past their ousting. These lands ensure they will continue to be the world's wealthiest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that is like an insurance policy. Speaking of which, Windsor Castle had no insurance when it burned to the ground, and the taxpayers had to rebuild it. So there you go. Planes, trains, and automobiles. And let's not forget helicopters, such as the lives of the Windsors. But it gets better. One of my favorite photos, Benefits Balcony. Benefits Balcony. Love that one. And of course, this is like some of the past articles from The Guardian. You have Queen's cash invested in controversial retailer accused of exploiting the poor. And then, of course, you have Offshore Queen. Remember that? The Offshore Queen, the Panama Papers, when they discovered that Her Majesty the Queen had a whole bunch of money in offshore accounts. And then, of course, the monarchy cost, that last one down at the bottom. These are 4 different slides. But the very last one on the bottom right, the monarchy cost us 345 million pounds a year, enough to pay for 13,000 NHS nurses. Now that figure, that was supplied by Republic, the group of individuals that are responsible for these terrible, terrible migraine headaches that King Charles III has experienced ever since his mother passed away. 10, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you, as always, for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Wednesday to you. And then take a look here. I have been trying my darndest to explain it. Let me try this one more time, as Oprah would say. I'll try it again. The Crown Estate makes a profit. That profit is paid to Her Majesty's, now His Majesty's Treasury. And then His Majesty Treasury, actually, Connie Bowmer! Surprise, surprise, I'm here early today. So His Majesty's Treasury pays that money after it is carefully calculated by men in gray suits. It is carefully calculated, and then it goes to the sovereign grant. And what would you do with a sovereign grant? You give it to the crown estate. Well, you give it to the crown. And of course, the crown owns that sovereign grant, whoever the crown is. I think that's Charles, which owns the crown estate. So you pay it to the crown. The crown owns the crown estates. And anyway, it's a vicious cycle. You take the money in, you pay it to the treasury, then the treasury calculates it, give it to the sovereign grant, and then that's paid to the crown, which owns the crown estate. Got it? It's just it's just like what's his name said. Here we go again. Here we go. Ready? Right? So it's just like Dan Wooden say, royals don't guest edit magazine. Celebrities guest edit. Royals don't guest edit magazine. Celebrity guest edit. Blah, blah, blah. So it's the same thing. So while all that's going on, right? You know how they say in what is it? The Lion King, that there's a circle of life. Well, here you have a circle of cash, a circle of pounds. And so while that circle is taking place, look at what's happening over there on the right. The NHS is collapsing, transport system broken, $6,500 pounds annually for energy bills. And of course, appalling customer service, house building frozen, and 18% inflation. And yet, they still have money for the coronation. Interesting, isn't it? They still have money for the coronation. Make that make sense. Hey, Big Mama. Let me see who else is here. Mo Shannon is here. Kim Coates, beautiful day is here. See, there's so many people I haven't seen on here in a while because for whatever reason, Royal Sussex has been going later and later and later. Hello, Myra V. Okay, so now if you guys listen to, I think it was James O'Brien yesterday, there was a guy on there who spoke about the sewage. He lives near the sea. He is a kayaker or whatever, and he nearly lost his hand because somehow he got some contaminated seawater in between his layers of skin, and that caused an infection where he nearly lost his hand. And so the reason why that happened is because raw sewage is being pumped into the sea, because when they privatized the sanitation system, unlike a lot of places where it's a matter of public works, they privatized it, and those companies are making record profits, but yet they, when it rains, whatever type of water reclamation system they have is of no use because it is subpar and needs to be modernized. And so that water reclamation system is easily overwhelmed by a rainstorm, and the drain pipes are open straight into the sea. And so the water is usually contaminated after a rainstorm. And so people who would otherwise have spent time on this beach or that beach, they can no longer go there because of the contamination. And this is what happens. And, you know, Ronald Reagan was very guilty of that too. Reagan and Thatcher, they wanted to privatize everything. And yes, privatization does generate profits, but privatization also slowly erodes all the safeguards that protects the consumer, that protects the public. And so those protections were lost, and they have given the privateers a chance to take over the water reclamation. And look at what they've done. And this guy that was on James O'Brien, what was so interesting is he said, if I released my septic tanks into the river, which goes into the sea, I would actually find myself in trouble with the law. I would break the law. I would probably get a hefty fine and possibly jail time. He said, but these companies, they can dump their sewage into that river that goes past my house that I dare not use as a drainage system. And it goes past my house into the sea and contaminates the water, which I'm paying a lot of money to live close to. So, very interesting situation this guy explained. He's not allowed to do what the big companies are allowed to do. And there you have it. This is probably the next 100 years. This may be the next at least up to 90 years of the royal family. So there won't be another sovereign as queen for quite some time, at least not likely. So let's see, George is, let's say 90 years from now, he may still be sitting on the throne. Maybe 80 years, 80 to 90 years from now, little George may be sitting on the throne. So that is very interesting to consider. And of course, as times have changed, as the Queen rests peacefully in her tomb, along with Philip and her father and her mother Cookie, as they're all in the tomb there, Charles has become king. And so they have just issued a postage stamp bearing his likeness. Now, you guys may notice that compared to the Queen's postage stamp, it is a tradition that when you issue a new postage stamp, that the monarch faces the other direction. So the Queen was facing to the right, and Charles is facing to the left. I think there was maybe one exception with the Duke of Windsor. When he was king, he felt as though his left side was his best side. So he decided he wanted to face the other way. But really, I didn't notice. Are you accusing me of having altered his ear? Do I seem like the kind of person that is shady enough to alter the ear of the sovereign who I have so much respect for? How dare you? How dare you? What are you talking about? VS, am I shady enough? Sharon, you too? How dare you all assume that I have taken license with his ear? That is the way the stamp was issued. Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear what I hear? I'm telling you, Charles' ears are so big he can pick up Radio Free Europe. He can pick up a little college radio station somewhere in San Fernando Valley. Okay, maybe I've done a little something to his ear. I thought that it was out of proportion. And for the sake of full disclosure, I just wanted to make sure that his ear was scaled up to the actual size. So yes, I may have taken license with his ear because I wanted to make sure that they weren't trying to trim it down. So I had to push it back up so that it looked more realistic. So yes, I did do that. But I'm not the only one who has fiddled around with the likeness of the sovereign. Like, for instance, the new coinage, the one where they captured the moment that he yelled to get that stuff off the table, or the puffy hand pins, or how about the coin that also reminded people of those rather unusual, um, you know, in I'm trying to be nice. Anyway, and of course, the other time that I had to set the record straight, it took a lot of digging around, but I was finally able to find the original coin that they issued on William's 40th birthday. They eventually realized that it may, so they changed it, but I found the original, and I was more than glad to share that with Royal Sussex. And of course, not to be left out, as you know, we have a new queen, not queen consort, just queen. And so I didn't want her to be left out, so I had to do some digging. But I did finally find the coin that is being issued to commemorate her rise to power. Um, yeah, and listen, no animals were maimed or injured throughout the creation of this coinage. The odd thing is, though, sometimes when you like try to put the coin on the table, it rolls over on its back. It does. It rolls over on its back so you can tickle the other side. It's very strange. Only this coin, for some reason, you can't lay it down, with the face up. It usually rolls over so you can tickle the other side of it. Okay, you guys, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, our new queen. And over here it says, as she becomes simply queen, at the last stroke of the pen, the last vestige of Camilla's former status becomes a historical footnote. Now that's from Richard, I can't believe those cheekbones, K. Remember Richard K? He's the one got those big cheekbones. Um, Richard K has penned a story about that. Day of drama as ex-president pleads not. Okay, so that's not part. So yeah, that is the big story. Not Donald Trump, not for the Daily Mail, not for the Sun. They are celebrating the new queen. You guys, I told you they are trying to rewrite history. Like, take a look here. Those are just some of the people that have made this day possible. But from the start, things began to slowly change. So, as we recall, Accession Day 2022, the 70th anniversary of Her Majesty's reign, they brought her a box full of papers. And one of the things that she allowed, and she even spoke about it, was the fact that when she makes her transition, at this point, she probably realized she was terminally ill. But when she makes her transition, that Camilla should be known as the queen consort. Now, there has been a lot of speculation about how that was possible. Like, was there some promise that Charles would lend protection to his brother? We don't know. So right here, let's go back to that day when the Queen made that announcement. Richard Palmer, yes, another Dickie. Richard Palmer says our exclusive story from this morning, Daily Express. The Queen did not consult the government over the U-turn on Queen Camilla. Downing Street was made aware, but constitutional experts were surprised that the monarch didn't seek approval. And then over here, Emily Andrews. Yes, where are the clowns? Send in the clowns, Emily Andrews. Even Emily Andrews said, having met her several times, I really like Camilla, but the PR campaign and spin of the last week has been extraordinary. The Daily Mail would have been the first paper to lay siege to any idea of Queen Camilla. Now they are putty in Charles's hands, I suppose. The invisible contract is real. Okay, I couldn't see that. But yeah, so she's saying that the invisible contract is real. Now, mind you, Harry was the one who really spoke openly about that invisible contract. So Emily Andrews has been playing up the squad by saying little nuggets like that. But I think we know which side of the bread she butters. And of course, part of this great rise to power for Camilla, that will include her children. The largest 3-year-old, no, I'm just kidding. That guy on the left, God, is he massive. That is her son and daughter, you can see there. And so they may receive royal titles, it's been reported. But yeah, this has been almost like a coup, hasn't it? This has been tantamount to a coup. The ancestor of, what is her name? Edith Keppel, the mistress to, was it George the Fourth or Fifth? Anyway, here she is. Fast forward to 2023, and now she's queen. It's as though this has been like a quest, a journey for that family for decades to somehow rise to the throne. I wonder where it ends. I really do wonder where it ends. And trust me, if Charles takes ill at the last minute, Camilla is going to, trust me, she is going to somehow muster the strength to pick him up and carry him into Westminster Abbey, if that's what it takes. She is going to grab him around those big childbearing hips of his and drag him into Westminster Abbey, if that's what it takes. Even if he's on a gurney, somehow he is going to be anointed at the Westminster Abbey. So right here, Camilla will become queen. Her Majesty, 95, issues historic platinum jubilee statement to end years of uncertainty and tell the public, she tells the public, I knew you will give the same support you have given me. That's what the Queen said on the session day. Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, will be made queen consort when Charles is eventually crowned as king. The significant announcement was made by Queen Elizabeth II in her Platinum Jubilee message to the nation. Statement ends years of uncertainty about what role Charles' wife would have in future of the monarchy. I know you will give them the same support you have given me. That's what the Queen said. The Queen said in her statement. A Clarence House spokesman said Charles and Camilla were touched and honored by the gesture. God only knows how they got her to do that. Now, this is the same Queen who refused to meet Camilla for what, 5 years? Wasn't it 5 years that the Queen refused to break bread with Camilla? And then suddenly, uh, the Queen is telling everybody, yep, you treat her just like you treated me. That is my wish. It's unbelievable. I mean, even today, as many times as I have spoken about this, I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked. I don't have words. Like that time that the Queen had to tell Camilla, back off. Don't you dare try to kiss me. Remember that? She had to tell Camilla, don't get too familiar. Yeah, the Queen was like, Philip, why did you kiss her? Oh, man. So Camilla's children tip for new royal titles when Duchess crowned Queen with Charles, King Charles, rather. Prince Charles may bestow a new title upon the children of his wife Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, after he accedes to the throne, according to royal author. So you see, they put this stuff out early to try to get people to react to it, to see what reaction. It's just like, let's float this balloon and see what happens. Well, they said this before the Queen even died. Prince Charles has been rumored to be keen to modernize the royal family and streamlining the firm when he becomes king. That includes giving out new titles. Prince Charles, I'm sorry, however, the royal author claims the Prince of Wales is also a traditionalist and suggested Charles may like to rectify the anomaly within the royal family after acceding to the throne. Does that mean recognizing children that no one knew existed before? Or the connection, the relation to children that people didn't understand in the past or were unaware of? Well, we'll see what happens. Tom Parker Bowles, born during the previous marriage with Andrew Parker Bowles, who don't have titles. Yeah, so Laura Lopez and Tom Parker Bowles, those are the children. They may get titles. And right there, you can see Richard Palmer. One perspective, we know, as I pointed out yesterday, the Queen can't even give an audience to the leader of the opposition or any other of the privy counselors without permission of her prime minister. Isn't it then surprising that she would have consult a prime minister over this? Wouldn't consult. But yeah, so the Queen didn't even say anything, and then all of a sudden, this just happened. Still fascinating. Still fascinating. And then, okay, so this is a new receipt I just attained today. Announcement of marriage of His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales to Mrs. Camilla Parker Bowles. Now, that was from 2005, right? It is with great pleasure that the marriage of His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales and Miss Camilla Parker Bowles is announced. It will take place on Saturday, 9th April 2005. Wow. Wow, isn't that something? Their anniversary is coming up. And then, of course, Prince of Wales has said, Miss Parker Bowles and I are absolutely delighted, and it will be a very special day for us and our families. Okay. This is when it gets weird. Princes William and Harry released joint statements. We are both very happy for our father and Camilla. Oh, God, that makes me want to hurl. And we wish them all the luck in the future. Now, remember, Harry said that neither he or his brother wanted them to get married. And then, of course, Harry said that he thought that if they got married, then she would be less evil or threatening or whatever the language was. Miss Parker Bowles will use the title HRH, Duchess of Cornwall, after marriage. That happened. It is intended that Miss Parker Bowles should use the title HRH, the Princess Consort. Are you listening? The Princess Consort when the Prince of Wales accedes to the throne. That is what Charles and Camilla and the Queen and likely Philip agreed upon when they got married. That is what they agreed upon, is that she would be known as the Princess Consort. And somehow now she is not even Queen Consort, she's just Queen Camilla. Wow. Wow. That just drops like a ton of bricks, don't it? So, of course, the wedding took place at the Guild Hall in Windsor. And then, of course, they went to St. George's Chapel for prayer. The sovereign is supposed to marry inside of the Church of England. However, this marriage did not take place in the Church of England because it was deemed, is it sacrilege? Because of the adulterous nature of their relationship in the past. And both divorcees, as a matter of fact. Let me see. Good night, all Squatty family. Stay safe and hydrated. Love you all. Peaceful morning and afternoon to all. Audrey Teschner, good night. Thank you so much for being a part of Royal Sussex. Okay. And take a look here. Now, one of the squatties put this together. Guys, this is why you got to love the squad. Isn't that a beautiful illustration there? As you can see, Camilla's climb to the top. Charles says he won't remarry if he divorces, right? And then it is Prince Charles to marry Camilla Parker Bowles, but she won't be queen. And then the next one says, the answer reads, as was explained at the time of their wedding. And then it goes, Queen backs Camilla to be queen consort on Jubilee. And then finally, Camilla will be queen, not queen consort after Charles. So yeah, she will be queen. It's a ladder. It is a chronological order of how this all changed, how this diabolical plan has hatched in plain sight. So there you have it. Camilla, Queen of England. That's Queen Camilla, not consort. So I tell you, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. This is the invitations that they have sent out. And I forgot which squatty it was who said that this coronation is going to be the big wedding that Camilla never had. And you know she's going to wear white. This coronation is going to be the big wedding that Camilla never had. So right here, the coronation of their majesties, King Charles III and Queen Camilla. And that is what everybody was talking about today on television in the UK, is that they have dropped the consort. They have totally dropped the consort. Were you guys able to hear that? I know sometimes I do that. You guys can't hear. So I hope you guys can. Oh, you guys can't hear it. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, let me fix it. Let me fix it. I got it.
Queen Consort been visiting North Yorkshire today as Buckingham Palace confirmed that the Queen Consort will be known as Queen Camilla after the coronation next month. The title has been used on the formal invitation to the ceremony at Westminster Abbey. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell looks into what this means for the royal family.
Malton in North Yorkshire today, a visit by King Charles and Queen Camilla. The term Queen Consort is to be dropped. Camilla is to be known simply as the Queen. It's a remarkable transition. Roll back some 25 years to the aftermath of the tragic death of the King's first wife, Diana. And Camilla, the third person in the future King's marriage, was a controversial figure. In 2005, after Charles and Camilla were married at Windsor Registry Office, Charles's officials put it about that when he took the throne, she would be known as the Princess Consort. It was a recognition of public sensitivities, but in reality, it was a smokescreen. In 2010, an American TV journalist asked Charles about it.
Does the Duchess of Cornwall become Queen of England if and when you become the monarch?
Well, I mean that's well, we'll see, won't we? But that could be.
And so to February of last year, the late Queen Elizabeth was at Sandringham to mark the 70th anniversary of her accession to the throne. She issued a touching statement in which she said, "It is my sincere wish that, when the time comes, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort." The late Queen's intention was to neutralise the whole issue of how Camilla would be known, but they are going one step further than the late Queen suggested. Many, though, will feel that Camilla deserves the recognition.
Until the day she married, she was the hated mistress, but as time went on, as she proved herself to be a good and very supportive wife to him, since by law she would be queen, it was absolutely natural that she should be called queen.
The die has been cast. The palace will be watching public reaction.
The Queen Consort have been visiting North Yorkshire today as Buckingham Palace confirmed that the Queen Consort will be known as Queen Camilla.
Okay, so that's it. That's it. She, in spite of everything that they said to the contrary, that is Queen Camilla. So let it be written, so let it be done. Now, here's another one. Now, as you can see, Camilla is in the back of the state Bentley. Wasn't there a movie called, or was it a TV show? Wasn't it called Please Don't Eat the Daisies? They should do a reboot. Please Don't Eat the Daisies, the Queen Camilla story. Please don't eat the daisies. Okay, listen.
Not at all.
Hey, so are you happy with Queen Camilla?
Not at all happy with it at all. She's an adulteress, and
wow.
They had sex during Charles's marriage with Diana. They had it afterwards. He's the governor of the Church of England and should have more respect for us.
But then I suppose it says in the Bible the flesh is weak.
Well, I can't have respect for her. I mean, I just think of her as the king's wife, and I think that's a sufficient title. In fact, the king's second wife. And like one of your previous callers said, I'm very aware of the way in which Diana was pushed to the side and died. And that's what I think of. And the two of them should really be ashamed of themselves. Okay. Charlie has always tried to say that he wants his new wife to be a queen, but I think nearly everybody I know disagrees with it. I don't know anyone in this area.
All the callers have said what you said, Tony. Thank you very much. So, gosh, that's the whole sequence of people saying, you know, I almost hope Camilla's not watching. We're going to move on now after the break. Stormwater.
Well, you know how Jeremy Vine is. But he said what everybody was thinking. He's going to be the governor of the church, the head of the church. And it is a lack of respect. It is a lack of respect. So there you go. And then, of course, today in the Mirror, they have a vote as to whether or not you think Camilla should be referred to as the queen. Well, Charles has signed the papers, and it's all over with now. So, and of course, there's a smoke screen if I've ever seen one. So they made this big fuss about Biden refusing to attend the coronation, but Jill Biden is going to go in his place as part of an American, sorry about that, an American, what do you call it, group that's going over. And yeah, so America will be represented, the United States will be represented, but he's not going. Even though they have insulted him in the papers, but he's not going. So they use Biden to try to rally support for the coronation. That was the whole point, was to use Biden to try to rally support, to try to get people angry so that they would be more supportive of the coronation. Now, take a look right there. Do you guys remember this photo? This is from, was it Cambridge or Oxford? One of those common places that was used by the students. They decided that they did not want the Queen's official portrait inside of the common space, and they removed it. And then when the tabloids got hold of it, it became another one of those situations where they made this big fuss about woke and how the woke people are doing all this woke stuff and how anti-monarchy to remove this image of the Queen from this common space that was really for the students' use. They did not want it. But yet they're going to spend £8 million. They want to spend £8 million. I hope they don't do it. But they want to spend £8 million to put an image of the Queen in these common spaces all over Britain. 8 million, not the Queen, but the King, £8 million to put images of Charles III all over Britain. So that's interesting. Huh, okay. And then, of course, let me share this with you. I love this. That evening, Diana stunned the fashion world wearing a beautiful hand-beaded dress and jacket to a banquet at the Elysee Palace. It was designed by Victor Edelstein, and when it came to her auction, this was the hardest dress to part with. So costly, she had to pay for it in installments. Thank you to the, I'm not even sure the guy was a squatty, but thank you so much for posting this on the Twitter. I saw it and just absolutely loved it. So, of course, I had to share it with you. And, of course, the wording of that caption is courtesy of that particular person who shared that with the Sussex squad. And then right here, introducing Prince William's Norfolk neighbor and friend, the Marquis of Cholmondeley, who, let me see. Oh gosh, I can't see it. Whose son has been honored with a key role at the coronation. And another sign of the close ties between the Cholmondeleys and the royal family, it was recently reported that King Charles has appointed Prince William's Norfolk neighbor and friend, David, the seventh Marquis, as his Lord-in-Waiting, according to Richard Eden in the Daily Mail. So you guys may recognize this as Rose Hanbury's husband. And this, of course, is a younger photo of him. His hair is all salt and pepper right now. But yeah, so this is the famous neighbor and husband of Ava. You're saying the quiet parts out loud. Well, anyway, excuse me. So his son, their son, is going to be a part of the official proceedings. Right there, you can see him in his official role with the Queen at one of the openings of Parliament. And of course, he has the rod of state. That is that rod that someday he is going to snap in two and lay on the coffin of Charles III. But for now, that a symbol of his office and rank and everything. That's how they use it, just kind of to marshal the people together. And of course, in happier times, there, of course, is Rose and Kate and Will and, Lord Cholmondeley. And if I can pull that down right there. With the coronation just a month away, Buckingham Palace has now unveiled details of who the king and queen consorts, they still use consort, pages of honor at the historic event will be, as well as a number of the couple's respective grandsons, including Prince George. There are a handful of close family friends among the 8 boys. One such individual is Lord Oliver Cholmondeley, second son of the youngest twin boys of the Marquis and Marchioness of Cholmondeley. In other words, Rose and what's his name, son. Leg says, doesn't this friend live in France half of the time with his roommate/friend in Paris? I am just saying that Lord Peggington attracts a certain type. Legs, if this is in reference to a pulled pork sandwich, if this makes any reference to a pulled pork sandwich, because Legs, as you know, sometimes people will go all the way over to Poland for a good pulled pork sandwich. So I suppose that is likely, yes. And thank you so much for the super chat. But yes, there is a particular type that seems to be attracted to that circle. And well, yeah, and I just had a comment earlier that described the whole situation. So yes. It's hard to know. It's almost like you need a scorecard or playing cards to understand exactly what's going on with these people. The parentage of certain individuals, you really can't establish it based on what's on their birth certificates. I believe that DNA swabs are required for all. That's what I believe. That there ought to be some. Could you imagine if the entire aristocracy was subject to DNA test? exactly what results there would be, you will find out some pretty interesting details about how a certain class of people have lived for a long time. But I would love to see the results of a massive pool of DNA tests amongst the aristocracy so we could establish once and for all who's zooming who, according to Aretha Franklin. Who's zooming who? Yeah, I would like to know who's been zooming who. But thank you so much for that, Legs. And of course, a picture speaks 1,000 words. This one, I would like to have this blown up and put on a billboard somewhere because, as I said, if you were to swab that entire social class of people and get their DNA results, it would be interesting to know exactly how things fall. Phyllis Brooks says, Baron, I mean, could it be possible that Camilla becomes the queen, like Queen Elizabeth, instead of William and Kate, if Charles somehow dies first? Well, let's put it like this. If Charles was incapacitated, I do believe that Camilla would be like the regent. I mean, she is eligible to be regent, I think, a council of state for sure, but regent, maybe. But even if there was no official incapacitation, um, she has used the power of suggestion with Charles in a way that I don't think anybody could calculate. So, yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. But um, legally, she wouldn't have any footing or hoofing. But if that ever did happen, oh my goodness. But yeah, I don't think that that would be possible because, you know, there's so many other blood relatives. But then again, she might be a blood relative. She might be a blood relative. Let me see. Poor Prince Philip, the father, never changed the king consort Philip in his long time of service to the only Queen Elizabeth II will ever call queen. I will ever call queen. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Hey, Katie B. Thank you so much for being here. Or is it Caddy B? All right, and then right here, Kate Middleton's Norfolk friend, Rose Hansberry, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley, looks elegant in black coat dress. Oh, not the coat dress. And headband. Oh, yeah, Kate wears those too. As she joins mourners at Prince Philip's memorial. Yes, she did. Now, I covered up this child's face because I felt uncomfortable. I don't know how that photo made it onto the, but that is him holding a child. A child. Now, you see Rose has green eyes and dark hair. You can see Lord Cholmondeley has, I think, gray or green eyes and dark hair, right? Well, that little child has, wait for it, what used to be blonde hair and blue eyes. You get me? Blonde hair and blue eyes. You get me? I'm just saying. Yes, that's it. That's it. They have rather dark hair and dark features. Now, there is a chance that as the child gets older, the hair will darken. But for now, not necessarily looking like one of the family. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm just saying, it's just a wee coincidence. That's it. not a wee coincidence. Pam Porter says, Baron, heads would explode. It's the way the aristocracy and the monarchy have always rolled. Pam Porter, which is why they refer to the Queen's mother, the Queen Mother, they refer to her as Cookie, because it was inferred that her mother, her real mother, may have been a French cook that was brought over to cook for the Lions Bowles family, and that Cookie's known mother was unable to have children. And so Cookie's father and that was the rumor. I'm sure there's absolutely no validity to it, but these people have some interesting history. Beautiful Day says, if Chucky goes first, Will Not takes over. Camilla will become the former King Chucky's wife, queen, consort. Camilla is not of royal blood. Yeah, so I don't think that would ever be likely. At best, she could hope to pull some strings if Charles became incapacitated somehow. But the idea that she could ever, rule in her own name is highly, highly unlikely, if not impossible. But I don't know that she has any limitations, because she seems to have come very far with so little, and surely she didn't get by on her good looks. Rose always looks unhappy. Well, she and Kate always look unhappy because they don't eat. Except you're right, Rose doesn't have, we haven't seen any photos of her smiling. So that is interesting that you never see her smile. Nuthalando Niandeni, thank you. Greetings from South Africa to you, Baron, and all the beloved squaddies. Thank you for loving and supporting the Sussexes. God bless you all. And the Sussexes, thank you so much for that. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Okay, so right here, I feel like I'm looking at two modern day headhunters. So we're delighted to welcome Jacinda Ardern to the Earthshot Prize Board of Trustees. Her lifelong commitment to sustainable development and climate action align powerfully with our ambition, that is, to protect and restore our planet by 2030. We're honored she joins us in this new role. Okay, so there you have it. Ardern, as we mentioned yesterday, has joined Earthflop. Since its inception, I believe Earthshot power to encourage and spread not only the innovations we desperately need, but also optimism. And then over here, you can see from yesterday, the GB News said that it was a real royal family coup. Well, it is a coup for them, because she's going to bring some much needed name recognition to this endeavor. However, I don't think that this is going to change their fortunes at all with Earthflop, because let me show you right here. BBC viewers switch off Earthshot Prize minutes into the show. That is from the Express. And then over here, BBC fans complain minutes into Earthshot Prize at hypocrisy of Prince William's award. Prince William's environmental award, the Earthshot Prize, saw 5 environmental solutions honored with £1 million each to further their sustainability work, right? But it goes on to report that the 5 winners were not invited to the show or banquet or the presentation. Everything was done via satellite or through Zoom or whatever means, but they were not invited. And the reason they weren't invited was because they claim it was all part of sustainability to make sure that they receive their prizes in their homeland. Now, the prize is done in incremental payments. They don't get the money all at once. And the other thing about it is, in spite of the fact that the earth flop took place in Boston, they were able to fly in some A-listers, including David Beckham. They flew David Beckham there from the Middle East, where he was part of the World Cup or whatever it was, and they brought him to Boston on a private jet. On a private jet. William and Kate flew commercial just to make the point that they're sustainable, even though they fly private every place else. But they fly in David Beckham and some other people privately, but they won't fly in the guests. Yes, that's hypocrisy. So good luck to Jacinda. I'm glad she's happy where she is, but I think this is a waste of time. Now, you guys, I'm not going to linger here, but one of the papers loves to show photos of Harry in some of the worst periods of his life when he was trying to deal with the loss of his mother. And photos of him in the back of taxis and other vehicles, dazed and confused, is some type of voyeurism for them. And so I decided to respond in kind by reminding them that the two very mediocre people that they love to uphold, oh God, I'm so glad that red bar did not move. That the two people that they love to cherish and uphold as the second coming, as the two finest, hardest working individuals that there has ever been, has also had periods of time when they have been found in the back of a car, dazed and confused, black taxis, and otherwise. And so I just thought to give it a little balance, I would, remind people that Harry may have suffered as a teenager, but this is a grown adult woman in college that is dazed and confused and forgot articles of clothing on the way out of the house. Yeah, I saw that photo of Harry, and I'm just like, why do they keep doing this? And I'm just sharing it with you because I wanted you to see, how they are treating him, and they totally ignore this. Now, again, Harry was a teenager. This is not a teenager. This is 2017. This is William, likely inebriated, I don't know for sure, dancing up a storm by himself in something looks like a karaoke club. And while he's here instead of being at the Commonwealth Day, the most important date on the Queen's calendar, the Commonwealth Day. So what's sadder, a teenage Harry or a grown adult woman in college dragging all over town, spilling out of taxi after taxi, right? Or how about someone who is, 35 years old at the time? 34, 35? I mean, he's getting on up there, isn't he? And this is William. But William was here and even pictured with a couple of blondes that were not his wife. And guess where Harry was? He was at the Commonwealth Day, right? Harry went to the Commonwealth Day. William did not. So I'm just trying to be balanced because, Harry has feelings too, and they want you to forget. They want you to forget that this was the Cambridges long before Meghan married into the family. This is 2017, Commonwealth Day, the most important day on the Queen's calendar. So I just wanted to share those, just to be balanced. And again, I'm so glad that that red bar stayed in place. Sometimes when I do these slides, I realize that the things that I'm trying to cover up are no longer covered up. So, yes, Terry H., he was crying out for help, and the papers are still trying to make a thing out of something that he has worked very hard and I would say successfully has risen above, but yet they want to keep reminding people. But they never show these. They never show these. But fortunately, they have something called the Sussex Squad, who has maintained a record, a permanent record. QET, as Queen still has gravitas, her brand would help Charles III stay afloat. QE2 knew this and wanted Princess Cohort, replacing the Queen's 70-year brand, which is what they're doing, Cypher. They are erasing the memory of the Queen. There's barely a mention of her. And also, I'm going to say this. Let's see how many times there's any reference to Queen Elizabeth II at the coronation. As a matter of fact, let's see how often there's any reference to Queen Elizabeth II. I feel like sometimes it's almost like she was never here, like she died 20 years ago. It seems like it was so much longer ago because of how little reflection there is on the fact that she ever lived. Oh, yeah. Heavy smoker and reportedly, likely, allegedly, a drinker. So, sometimes you have to do things for petty sake. I don't even know what this story was about, but I had those two photos and I just wanted to throw them in there for good measure. Since they like to keep dragging Harry, might as well drag other people with them. I had no useful purpose for this except petty, shady, shady and petty. I had no purpose. So that's it. I have nothing to say. I don't even remember what that story was about, but it was something to do with Harry and Meghan. And I saw the photos, so I shared them again. As a matter of fact, these are my go-to photos for thumbnails. You'll notice like every other thumbnail, I rotate between like 3 or 4 different images. The ones that I think really convey her spirit. So that's her spirit. This is the Time magazine cover. That is Time magazine. I wonder, I really wonder, who could Time magazine be referencing with this image? Now, it kind of looks like a fingerprint with teeth, but the fingerprint also looks like Cheeto dust. So, I don't know, could it be Trump? Oh my God, did you see the look on his face yesterday? Did you see the look on Donald John Trump's face. Did you see the look on his face? Talk about pitiful. It was just absolutely pitiful. And I could not have been more thrilled. Here it is right here. And then also, when Trump was going through the door, whoever that was ahead of him did not hold the door, and the door almost hit him. He had to put his arm out to keep. Actually, I think the door did hit him, but they didn't even hold the door for him. So at this point, let me give you some reference. At this point, Donald Trump had just had his fingerprints taken. So they did take his fingerprints, but they're not sharing a mugshot. As far as I know, there is not a mugshot. But like a common criminal, he had his fingerprints taken. And now he is the accused. And they're seeking a 43 count Class E felony conviction. So if he's convicted, he will become a felon. Criminal defendant Donald J. Trump. Okay, right here. Some of you guys have been worried about the next election. I want you to see Gen Z, right? Biden's strongest among America's youngest voters. As you can see, according to this particular poll, 65% of the Generation Z are supporting Joe Biden. With millennials, it's a little over half. And then the Gen Xers is still more than Donald Trump. And with the baby boomers, it's still more. Only the pre-baby boomers, and trust me, there's not many pre-baby boomers. Those are people born before 1945. If you were born before 1945, there's a 54% chance that you would likely vote for Trump. But everybody else, it is all above water with support for Biden. So there you have it. Of course, it's way too early to try to sort these things out. But as for now, you can see where things stand. Most of the criticism of Prince Harry has come from those considerable privilege who fear that his departure from the expectations of royalty signal that privilege can be used to interrupt their own. And that makes a lot of sense. That someone born into privilege actually has a greater voice. Their voice carries further than someone who's on the outside of that aristocracy. And so that is one of the reasons why they are terrified of Prince Harry. They are terrified of Spare, because Spare is just one of several books coming down the pike. And just even if we think about all the stuff that Harry has spoken about in Spare, just consider all the stuff that he hasn't mentioned as of yet. So there is a lot to consider with the up and coming books. And with that, you guys, guess what? I am done. Done. So thank you very much. Thank you, moderators. And thank you so much for the contributions I received today. Greatly appreciate it. This has not been a Mark Goodson or Bill Totson production. No animals were maimed or injured throughout this episode of Royal Sussex. There was definitely not a hint of nudity or violence. Wait, let me look down. Yes, there has been no nudity throughout this Royal Sussex. And no prizes either. So there you go. But thank you very much. Thank you guys for tuning in early. Hopefully we can do it again tomorrow. We'll start early if at all possible. And if there's any breaking news, I'll be there. But otherwise, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thank you ever so much. Happy Wednesday to you all. Yes, thank you so much. Lydia is reminding you guys to make sure that you vote. There it is at the top of the chat, the live chat at the very top. In the blue bar at the top, you can click on that link to vote for Harry and Meghan in the Time Magazine 100 Most Influential list. Thank you, Connie Balmer, Jeech, Mo Shannon, Congo Laboso TV, Lydia Washington, beautiful day, Mary H, Dorothy Ross with the hugs, lots and lots of hugs, and Muttering Crone, Judy D, Black Queen. Yes, thumbs up, everybody, thumbs up. Let me see. Miss VS was here. Thank you so much. VS speaks royally. All right. Thank you, Karen. All right. Annie Bennett and so on, so on, and so on. Let me see. Did I see Deirdre Monkey? Claire Kane was here. All right. Okay. Thank you all so much. And with that, let me see, where is it? Well, might be too hard to find today. So anyway, as per usual, love and gratitude to our queens, our Queen of Hearts and our Queen of Everything. There we go. And who else? Hi, Teresa McDougall. Trinette Mitchell, hello. Beverly Isidore. Well, this looks like a good last word. Everyone, please pray. Our court will put the clink clink on that no-lipped having toupee wearing orangutan that was just in court today. Yes, let's hope they lock him up. They're going to lock him up. Isn't that something? All of that talk about Hillary Clinton, and he's the one that has been twice impeached. And of course, you know, when New York is done with him, there's also Georgia. And then, of course, the federal government has not thrown their charges at him. So conceivably, Donald Trump may very well spend. Oh, the list is closed? It's now closed. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, yeah, so the list is now closed. Oh, fiddlesticks. Sorry for my language. Fiddlesticks. And we get the results on April 12th. Thank you so much, Lydia. But yeah, so Donald Trump may conceivably spend the rest of his unnatural born life in a court of law. I pray. And so all of the years of misdeeds may someday come to light. That day cannot come soon enough for my taste. Okay. All right. Well, I still have a couple of hours to go before my appointment. Thank goodness. And thank you all for being here. And I will see you all tomorrow. And with that, I am going to yield my time. I am going to go to the Ginger Avenger. Q Ginge. You could hear that? You could hear that? I literally just put some on. I did. I literally just put some on. God, my lips are dry. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Gosh, I hope you can't see me. Oh, man. All right, well, that was a good call. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. All right, see you guys. Love you.